If you love snow globes around the holidays, this video is for you. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I'm sharing the latest collaboration between Simon Hurley and Spellbinders to create the Simon Hurley Snow Globes collection. This collection has a bunch of dies to make different snow globes, as well as embossing folders and even foil plates for sentiments. The embossing folders weren't quite ready to be released, so we're going to dive right into the snow globes, and I'll do an entire embossing folder video very soon as they're released. So this first set includes the globe and the stand. There's also a snowdrift that you can cut out. I basically cut out a white circle and then cut the snowdrift out of that. There's also a row of houses. I cut that out of a white circle as well. Then there are some individual houses. You can have snow on top of the house and the chimney, which is so cute. You can also have these little details around the window, which I thought was really pretty. Now, I'm using My Sweet Petunia's glue precision press. That's a really great way to get that tiny little bit of glue where I want it. And then I use an embellishment tool to pick up tiny little pieces of cardstock. So I have two of the houses cut out in gray cardstock. I put the snow on the tops of both, and I'll put little white trim around the windows as well. I've cut the little trees out of green and white, and then I cut a piece of the white to look like it's snow falling on the top of that tree, kind of just covering the tops of the trees. So you can see that they're trees, but they will have that little bit of snow on top of them because there's definitely a lot of snow going on in this scene. So these are snow globes after all, it makes sense. So I have three of those little trees, and now I'm using some Simon Hurley Solar Paste in Beluga. I've put a little bit on my glass mat and I spritzed it with some water, and I'm taking a paintbrush and mixing that water with the lunar paste so that I can splatter it on my dark blue background, which is my night sky. Next, I'll adhere the little row of houses with the snowdrift, and then I'll adhere the individual snowdrift. Now, you don't have to use all these pieces in one snow globe. I just like to show you everything that comes inside so that you can see what the options are. There's also a Santa with reindeer. I decided to do that in black so it's a silhouette in the night sky. I'm placing some golden cardstock behind the houses so that the windows look like they are aglow with light. That was the easiest way I could think to do that. But the little street lamps are so tiny, I did not feel like I could cut little bits of cardstock to go behind them. So I have another way to deal with that. So adhering down the houses, the street lamps, some trees, just trying to fit in as much as I can into this little scene so that it is just packed. So this is Lunar Paste in Shooting Star, and I have that scoring tool that I have a little bit of the lunar paste on. I'm just going to dab it in the center of the little street lamp so that it looks like the little street lamp is aglow as well. Next, I'll take a little bit of Slippery When Wet on that same scoring tool just to put some magic dust at the bottom of the reindeer and Santa's sleigh. So that is tracking along there. Now, there are two sentiments per set. This one says Jingle Bells. You cut out a whole flag and then you cut out a flag with the sentiment cut out of it. So you have two flags to layer on top of each other, and this fits right on the base of the snow globe. And so, like I said, this one says Jingle Bells. I've cut it out of mirror cardstock and white cardstock. I'm popping up the globe, and then I'll pop up the base as well. And this was so much fun to put together. All these little details come together so beautifully and so much fun to create this scene inside the snow globe. This set is called Snowman Scene. So once again, I've cut out the globe from the original set out of a light blue cardstock, and I have a couple of snowdrifts again this time out of white cardstock, and I'll adhere those down for my background. You can see up top there's a bunch of different dies that are included. There are trees, There are layers that you can put on the trees to make them look snowy. There's a snowman with several different hat options. So you definitely want the Simon Snow Globe set, and then you can choose from this and other sets to add on to it to create different scenes inside the snow globe. So this little snowman is so adorable. I just can't get over it. He's so cute. So there are little arms, as you can see from those little dies. There are coal buttons and coal eyes. There's also, I liked the top hat the best. So my top hat has kind of a shadow at the bottom and then that brim with the red ribbon on it, and it just fits perfectly on his little head. And then there's a scarf with two pieces, so you can have the scarf kind of blowing behind his hand and then the knot in the front on his neck. So there are also some berries for one of the trees. I thought I would put that on the green pine tree in the back there, and just so many cute little options. So I'll pop up the snowman right in the center of those two trees, put a little bit of adhesive at the bottom, and then I've cut out the base out of some craft cardstock. I'll add a little bit of white gel pen details to the sky to make it look like it's snowing. And for the sentiment this time, I chose Holly Jolly cut out of red on top of a white base. Instead of putting this one on a card, I'm saving it for the embossing folders. The next die set is called Nativity Scene. So again, you would buy Simon Snow Globes, and then you would buy Nativity Scene as an add-on to create, obviously, a nativity scene in the background. So I've cut everything from the scene out of black cardstock because I'm going to have everything be a silhouette. And so you can see that there are dies that you can layer on top of each other. I don't need that because I'm just using one color. But if you wanted to, you could cut the different colors out for each of those pieces, layer them on top of each other to make them look a bit more realistic. For me, I'm just doing the shadow or the silhouette. I took the snow globe shape and put the scene in temporarily so I could draw some small circles, one at the bottom and one at the top, and those are going to be the brightest areas of my snow globe so that they'll surround the star and then inside the nativity. So I'm ink blending Simon Hurley's Clear Skies. That's the lightest blue I'm going to use, and you'll see that I'm leaving two spots white for now. That again will be the brightest spots in the snow globe. Now I'm covering up a little bit of that Clear Skies with no diving. I'll leave a little bit of the Clear Skies and then a little bit of the white, and now I'm adding some Tim Holtz Chipped Sapphire Distress Oxide ink on top as the darkest color to create this night sky. So you can see there's a little hint of each color that remains as well as the white cardstock remains. And I'll just go back in and start blending them out. The last thing that I'll do is a very light covering of Clear Skies on the white so that it's not completely white. Now I have my globe ready and I can adhere the base down at the bottom there, and you can see I have the two spots that are going to be the brightest spots in the globe. I decided to use the Silent Night die to create the sentiment, and I'm just adhering it down to the base without a flag behind it because the base itself is black and so it shows through nicely. So I'll adhere the star down at the top, and you can see that again there are pieces to sort of make that thatched roof of the nativity. Mine is all cut out of black, so you could cut it out of different colors so that you could see the layers of it, but mine is all again a silhouette. So once I've created the entire scene and have everything glued down, now it's time to put this all onto a card. So I have blue cardstock matted on silver cardstock in an A2 card, and then I adhered the snow globe on top, and I'm really happy with how it came out with the silhouette and the beautiful sky. The next die set is called Woodland Scene. So I have some Weeping Willow die ink from Simon Hurley. I've cut the two deer and a little rabbit out of craft cardstock, and I'll just add a little bit of inking around these just to give them a little bit more interest so that they're not just plain cardstock. I've done sort of a similar thing with the trees in the background. I've cut them out of a fog cardstock from Spellbinders, and I'm smattering a little bit of white pigment ink on them. I didn't want them completely stark white, but I did want a little snow. Again, the tree has a layer that you can add snow on top of it. Both of the trees do in this one. So I have snowy trees, some woodland animals, and a couple of tree stumps that, again, I added a little bit of white pigment ink to have snow at the base. So I have my snowdrift and then the base of the snow globe. This time, again, I just cut out the sentiment. I didn't cut out a backing because the backing was silver for the base, and it says peace, love, joy. So now I just start adhering things together. You can just kind of start from left to right, from center out, however works for you. Honestly, this one I did sort of from left to right, although I realized I had to put the moon, which I cut out of silver cardstock as well, on the other side because the trees were taking up a lot of space at the top. You can see there's a set of antlers. It's got a little spot to place a little drop of glue so that you can hear it behind the head of the deer. So I have one tree popped up, one flat, a deer in the background popped up, and then a deer in front of the popped up tree. So just kind of layer and have fun with these pieces. Again, if it's too busy for you, just use one or two of them, but I like using them all on that one globe. I did want to show you also that's available, the wonderful winter sentiment hot foil plate and die. Now, I love this die set, and there are a couple of others from Simon Hurley for Spellbinders where there's a bunch of sentiments in a row on one foil plate. So you use one piece of paper, one piece of foil, and one action of foiling them all together. And then there's one die. So you don't have to keep track of a bunch of different sentiments and small dies. So I just foil a bunch of these so that I have them, and then I'll just place all the extras in the die pocket or whatever I'm using to organize them. So you can see I have a bunch here. Check this out. The die just goes over the entire list of sentiments. Just make sure you keep it nice and in place so that it cuts out cleanly, and then just run it through your die cut machine and all the individual sentiments cut out individually. So it's just a really smart, innovative way of doing sentiments. Makes it a lot easier for me to have all these foiled sentiments together and ready to go. So I did decide to add one to the Santa scene that says Santa Claus is coming to town. There is also a Oh Holy Night, which I thought about putting on the nativity scene, but I really like the nativity scene just how it is. I hope you can tell that I really loved working with these snow globes and creating a bunch of cards with this entire collection. Of course, this video is part of my Get a Jump on Christmas playlist, and I'll link to the whole thing over here. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. And so first, let me give you... that was a little too much.